Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So, I got a fun and exciting video for you guys today because we're taking another look at Mizzurna Falls. Last time I talked about this game, it's because an English translation finally released, making the game playable to everyone who doesn't understand Japanese. And when I say this is basically Twin Peaks the video game without the license, I 100% mean it. And for the longest time, I've been trying to convince anyone who will listen that they need to play Mizzurna Falls. This is absolutely one of the best PlayStation 1 hidden gems out there. Human Entertainment absolutely made something that was way ahead of its time with a full open world day and night cycle that basically gives you a ton of things to do and an entire murder mystery to try to solve. The one thing about this game, though, the glaring issue that still persisted after the English translation is it absolutely was hostile towards the player and what you needed to do. And in a previous video I said that even though it wasn't English, you might want to bring a walkthrough or guide along for the playthrough because you actually have to be in certain places at certain times to progress the story, which is totally fine for an open world game that has a day and night cycle. We basically see it in every open world title now. The one issue with Mizzurna Falls, whether it was a glitch or by the developer's intentions, is that the internal timer actually runs faster than the Roadrunner trying to get away from Wile E. Coyote. Seconds in this game equated to minutes, and you would basically miss story beats and screw yourself over even though you were very close to where they were happening. The timer just absolutely was an issue in this game, running way too fast. Now, some months ago there was a patch made, and now I'm finding out about it, so you are going to as well, that absolutely fixes the in-game timer, so now you have ample amounts of time to actually explore the world, do things within it, and get to those story elements and beats when you need to. And that is absolutely something that takes this game from being an extremely hard playthrough that'll probably frustrate you and make you want to turn the game off into something that absolutely is one of the best PlayStation 1 hidden gems of all time. Because the thing about Mizzurna Falls is it is open world and there's so many things to explore, see, and do, and so many things that really don't progress the story but make this actual game feel like a living, breathing world. But you basically had to ignore almost all of those when you were playing the game because, again, you had that timer and that was absolutely going to kind of just count down and get you stuck. You'll see here you're able to pee in the game and there's no real function to actually peeing, but it is something you can do. Nothing in this bathroom is going to progress the story whatsoever, but if you wanted to explore an entire area in the game when you're actually trying to hunt down the killer or killers of your friends in this title, you think to yourself, well, I don't really want to go in there, and if it doesn't have anything that I need, I probably should get out of there as quickly as possible because the timer is running and I'm running out of time. Plus, Mizzurna Falls has a pet the dog button long before that was customary, which means that this game is definitely an 11 out of 10 for that one purpose only. But outside of this actual patch, the fact of the matter is Mizzurna Falls is a very special game. It is absolutely weird, the writing is absurd, and that is because, again, it's basically trying to adhere to that overall Twin Peaks aesthetic. This is a David Lynch game, but David Lynch never made games. The writers at Human Entertainment always went left when everyone else went right, and that absolutely shows here. And I think of any of the developers to make a quote-unquote unofficial Twin Peaks game, Human Entertainment would be the ones that I would select, outside of something like Spurrier 45 and Deadly Premonition, which was basically the 360 and PlayStation 3 era's Mizzurna Falls in its own right. But again, now this game is going to be way more playable, and that means a lot of people that I've talked to when I did these videos will definitely play it again, because I've seen so many comments basically saying, I enjoy the game, but it definitely doesn't make much sense, and I'm running out of time. That's not going to be an issue here, and I will show you the timer in just a moment, but I'm trying to keep a lot of what this story unfolds hidden from you, because if you've never played Mizzurna Falls, I can't stress enough, this story is going to go into some very weird places. You're not really going to understand how you got there, but you're absolutely going to be enthralled in the gameplay as well as the story. Because this is one of those titles, if you've played it, you 100% know how incredible it is, and if you haven't played it, you're absolutely missing out on one of the best games out there. I will say though that the driving mechanics in this game basically feels like you just pounded half a bottle of Jack Daniels and then tried to get out on the open road. But in the top left hand corner you're going to see the timer. It just counted up a minute, but wait to see how long it takes to get to the next minute. Back in the original version of this game or the translation, we'd probably already have like 3 or 4 minutes elapsed on the clock just by driving around this corner. It just moved way too fast. But you'll see here we're still on 10:06 a.m. and that means you're going to be able to explore the world and see a lot more and get to where you need to be without issues. Let's go into the first soundtrack sample because this game also has absolutely incredible music, and I'll be right back. I mean, it's not exactly what you'd expect out of a game that I'm comparing to Twin Peaks, because it doesn't really have all of the Twin Peaks vibes or the Angela Badalamenti soundtrack, but it does have a very kind of fun, kind of spooky theme going on, and it definitely gets better as the game goes on, even though I do love that track. But there's just something about Mizzurna Falls, especially in DuckStation, how I'm capturing it here, with the enhancements on, that basically feels like a game for console that never truly existed, and that is why patches like this are so important, even if I missed when this launched some months ago. And this takes the game and just makes it that much easier to play, because this is an era and generation where no one had really figured out a perfect open world game yet. Developers got close, but there was always some sort of issue, and really it only felt like the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube era where these open world games really kind of nailed that formula. But the only thing that was holding Mizzurna Falls back outside of the English translation, which came out some time ago, was the fact that you had to be precise and perfect when you played this game. It is one of those things. A walkthrough is always a good thing, because maybe you can't find the item you're looking for, but when there is such a strict timer on the game that you can basically miss entire elements of the story and screw yourself, that isn't a good design decision, and we definitely need to get into the diner before that dude does. And if you're wondering, I'm sure this is just the Double R diner from Twin Peaks, but if you just wanted to stop and get a coffee, definite Twin Peaks reference there, because I had my choices and Cooper loves his coffee, you might not actually want to do this if you have to be at a certain place at a certain time, because even going in here and having a coffee could end up elapsing like half an hour off the clock. That is not going to be the case anymore. You're going to be able to explore the world, see all those little nooks and crannies, and do things that really aren't required of you, but really do make the game feel that much more fun. And trust me, if you are a fan of Twin Peaks, the television series, or Fire Walk with Me, the movie, and you've never played Mizzurna Falls before, you absolutely have to do it. This woman right here is basically the game's version of Log Lady, and it always has that same absurd, kind of otherworldly nature of what Twin Peaks had as a television show as well as a movie. And because I absolutely love Twin Peaks and I watch it at least every other year from start to finish, it's one of those things. This game was absolutely made for me, and I absolutely love it, and I did basically stick through the English language translation, even though I had issues with the timing as well. And that is why I really genuinely love the retro gaming mod community. They go out and spend their time to do things like this to make games more enjoyable for everyone, because Mizzurna Falls is the type of title that absolutely is still too obscure and could end up being lost to time in most people's consciousness, and when they do sit down and actually try to play the game, they're going to be met with a very intriguing storyline and a very intriguing premise, but a game that outright basically doesn't telegraph where they need to go or do enough, but also has such a strict time limit that you basically get screwed over. But when I say this game is absurd, I 100% mean it, because the town cop, who definitely looks like Carl Winslow from Family Matters, just brought a high school student to the hospital to talk about his injured friend, and that friend is going to die with him right outside the door. Definitely has a big Twin Peaks vibe, because anything that happens in that town makes no sense. You just go along for the ride. But it's soundtrack sample 2 time, because again, this game has absolutely incredible music, and I'll be right back with just a bit more fun. It definitely has some upbeat tracks as well, but as far as Mizzurna Falls is concerned, this is a special game to me. It definitely has a lot more appeal, because as a fan of Twin Peaks, it has a lot of the weirdness going on that I love, but even if I'd never seen Twin Peaks before, I still would recommend this game to basically everyone. It's one of those PlayStation 1 era experiences that you really can't get anywhere else. Human Entertainment was always pushing at the bounds of what video games could be, whether it's with the Clock Tower series Septentrion, or obviously Mizzurna Falls here, and it really is sad that they no longer really exist as a developer, because I would love to see what they would do in the modern generation. This was basically when the developers were learning how to work in 3D and trying to come up with entirely new genres that we still play to this day, and Mizzurna Falls, as far as the PlayStation 1 era is concerned, is the best of the bunch in my opinion. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me what you think the best open world game is of that generation, because I would be curious. And when I talk about the translation, even though it is old now, it's absolutely a massive undertaking because there's so many different lines of dialogue and text in this game. Might be one of the biggest translation projects I've honestly ever seen. But you can leave me a comment down below and you tell me what your favorite video game translation is. I would be curious. And if you do want to play this game, I have left a link to the patch down below so you can grab it. It's going to be both the English translation as well as the chilling cut, which I'm playing here, that fixes that timer. And trust me, I know it sounds like a very small change, but it is absolutely a massive change in your ability to enjoy the world that is Mizzurna Falls, because the writers, developers, and artists spent all this time making as much of a living, breathing world as was possible on PlayStation 1, and then they basically cut everyone's time short and told you better not spend too much time looking at things as it might not go well. But take your time, have another cup of coffee, enjoy Mizzurna Falls with some extra time included, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.